Fantasy football junkies. You are tuned in to the #1 source for fantasy prognostication. It's Testosterone Fantasy Sports with your hosts, Jeff and Jesse. So listen up. Here's your chance to gain the edge over the competition and dominate your fantasy football league. Every week we break down all of the matchups and tell you who to play as well as who should ride the pine. This is the joint that every fantasy junkie needs, so check it out! Thank you for dropping by, Purple Nation. Welcome to an action-packed hour-long episode of your favorite fantasy football prognostication show. Of course, I'm talking about Testosterone Fantasy Sports right here on MCN6. It's Jesse and Jeff, locked and loaded, bringing you an hour-long edition, man. It's great to be back in the house doing this show.
Yeah, we love being here, doing the show that we've come to know and to do for the last 4 years. It's so much more fun to be here when the Purple are winning. Jesse, 4 games in a row, man. That's a long time since we've had a 4-game winning streak.
Oh, tell me about it. I mean, since this regime came in last year, it was just kind of just bad news after bad news after bad news. And now here we go, Jeff. We've run 4 games in a row, 3 games, the first time in Vikings history that 3 wins have come by 21 points or more. So not only is the team winning, but they're doing it convincingly. We had some major doubts earlier in the season, but those doubts are being erased, and the Purple positivity is just flowing. The set has never looked better, man.
Yeah, it looks great, and you know, we'd like to thank, we met this guy, Vince Barrett, and we want to talk a little bit about him. He came to us with this idea. We met him on our website in the Fat Chat, and he had this idea for Adrian, and it's the Feed the Beast, and I'm premiering this t-shirt right here because we think that on a philosophical level for the next 10 years or so, that's what this team should do, is to feed the beast all day. And so
exactly,
we got these t-shirts, and we want to let everybody know that we're going to be selling them on our website. And just so happens to be the holiday season, I got my purple elf hat here. And if anybody's looking for the perfect gift for the Vikings fan that has everything, come on our site, chat with us, and inquire about these t-shirts. They're not going to be really expensive. We're just looking to share with everybody this idea we have about feeding the beast, Adrian Peterson, the beast.
And the beast is alive and well. Last week, yeah, we're going to just forget about that performance. A young guy will have games like that. But look, now the NFL is realizing the star power that is Adrian Peterson. This week, Jeff, the NFL announced that our game has been moved from the daytime slate in Week 16 to prime time on Sunday night next weekend against the Redskins. And I got to believe that's because we're going to feed the beast.
Yeah, it's been great. At this point right now, you know, we definitely don't want to forget Chester because he really is the butter on the bread. You know, if Adrian is the bread, and he's been really running the ball well. He's averaging 12 yards a carry, or I'm sorry, 12 carries a game to Adrian's 18. So we're running the ball 30 times a game, which I love.
Exactly.
And that's a real formula for success. We play stout defense. We're great at stopping the run. And I'll tell you, Jesse, you mentioned last week's game. The Niners really came, and you could tell they were not going to let Adrian beat them. They did not want to be seeing themselves on ESPN, the highlight package, getting burned by Adrian like he's done so many times this season. And so they came, they were putting their cornerbacks on Adrian because they knew that we were a little bit more susceptible against the pass and stuff. So they didn't want to let Adrian beat them. And lo and behold, Chester popped a long one. So we're showing that people can't stop our running game.
Yeah, it has been a historic running game here for the Purple. In fact, I'm prognosticating, Jeff, looking at our averages, that somewhere during this Monday night victory that we will have against the Bears, midway through the second quarter or maybe midway through the third quarter, I anticipate that this Minnesota Vikings team will become the greatest rushing attack in the history of this organization. So I pulled out the old Chuck Foreman, number 44, in my opinion, the greatest Vikings running back to this point. But I believe that the beast is taking that mantle, and right here we're seeing Adrian Peterson and this team with the dominant offensive line that we have up front. I just couldn't be any more excited about what we got going right now.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting last weekend to see our team roll up against the Niners in their own house. 27-7 was the final score. We definitely got the ground game running. Here again in this game on Monday night against the Bears, we're going to want to do the same thing. The Bears are going to come out loaded for bear. They're going to want to really stop our rushing game, and I think that we need to get our offensive line out in front of our running backs, get them going. I was really impressed to see Sidney Rice in the rush blocking last week. He's really come a long way in that area. That's unselfish play. And Jesse, I'm really impressed with Bryant McKinney, Steve Hutchinson, and Matt Burke. Our running game is such a team effort that it's like a stampede because the defense is lucky to just get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And they're wise to get out of the way because our two-headed attack is coming at you from all different angles. Just when you think you've held AP in check, then Chester pops for a long one. And realistically, it is a total team effort. We like to talk about the key positions for the skill players, but the big guys up front are doing it. And also, Darrell Bevel, Jeff, really calling games from the right mentality. Run first, yes, but also noticing that the run is opening the pass now, and we're starting to see a young quarterback develop. And early in the season, a lot of Purple fans were really feeling the negativity on Tavares Jackson, but now he's starting to show some things. People are starting to have some of those doubts be set aside. Yeah, he's still only started maybe 9-10 games in his NFL career, but he's really showing some maturity for a young guy, not making big mistakes and actually starting to make some plays in the passing game.
Yeah, it's been really nice to see. You know, he really seemed to kind of come out of his shell against the Giants. There was a crucial third down in like 8, a play where, you know, things were hinging for us, and he decided to scramble. He got a very important first down for us, and it just seemed to build his confidence. And I really like his decision-making lately. We're even starting to see him look off safeties, which is big time for a quarterback who's developing. So I'm impressed to see what he's done so far. I'm really looking forward to see what he can do against a divisional opponent, one that's filled with pride. The Bears are going to want to do well, but their secondary has been depleted from injury. So I'd like to see a couple of shots deep to Sidney Rice and Bobby Wade underneath.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jeff. I think this is a game that the Vikings should win. We looked at last week's game. There were some people talking about, did that game have a touch of trap or slipability for the Vikings? I did not think that was even possible because San Francisco is just flat out bad. Now, the Bears, on the other hand, they do have some playmakers, although they're going with Kyle Orton as their starting quarterback. So we should really feast from a defensive standpoint on him. I love the way we're mixing in more blitzes, being more aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. And there are some whispers right now that Leslie Frazier is actually doing a better job as the defensive leader of this team than Mike Tomlin did last season. This defense is playing at an extremely high level, and I think that continues here Monday night against Chicago.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what our defense has to offer here in this game. One thing I like about Leslie Frazier is he's been able to blitz the quarterback very, very well, and I like how they're disguising things. And I think that Kyle Orton, being inexperienced, is going to have a hard time with some of the looks that we're going to give him. I'm really glad that we're hosting this game because the Thunderdome is different than when we're on the road. You know, the fans are going to be rocking. I can't wait. There's a chance that there will be a little bit of testosterone flavor in the house. So everybody who's going down to the game, keep an eye out for us because we'd love to have you come up and shake our hands and just say hello.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge game for the Purple. It's a home game. The eyes of the nation are going to be fixed on the Beast and the team that surrounds him. I can't wait to see Adrian Peterson in primetime. And from a fantasy standpoint, I don't think fantasy guys should be in any shape or form worried about that knee. I don't attribute his poor performance last weekend to the knee in any way, shape, or form. I do think that Patrick Willis, the Studley middle linebacker from Ole Miss, first-round picked by the Niners. He came with his hard hat on. Guy leads as a rookie, leads the NFL in tackles, and it just seemed like the Niners were hell-bent on stopping Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
This week, Peterson, I believe, is going to get off under the primetime lights just to showcase those magical abilities, and realistically, I think we're going to whoop the Bears by at least 2 touchdowns, man. Maybe I'm overly optimistic.
You're drinking the purple Kool-Aid, bro.
Guzzling
You're
it
the grape
down.
ape, in my opinion. No, on the fantasy field, I definitely like Adrian. I think he was really frustrated by his performance in last week's game. And you got to understand that. I mean, this is a kid with a great heart, the heart of a champion, in my opinion. And you know he wants to do well. So when he has 14 carries for 3 yards, I think he's been thinking about that. It's been eating at him. And so I think he's going to really come out and run hard. I do also like Chester in this game. Chester's had 4 games consecutively with touchdowns. I like his play this week because when Adrian comes out of the game and Chester comes in, defenses seem to be like, whew, no more Adrian, and then Chester pops.
Right.
So I do like what we have potentially going for Chester here. And then the Vikings defense is a great fantasy play this weekend as well.
The Vikings defense in most fantasy formats is the #1 fantasy defense.
They score so much.
Yeah, they're so opportunistic. Anytime these guys get their hands on the ball, they're smelling blood. They want the end zone. And not only that, but they're stripping the ball for the opposing runners. They're causing fumbles in the backfield. Kyle Orton, I mean, he's going to be jacked up during that game several different times. He's going to be confused and befuddled by our blitz. And Chicago just doesn't have nearly as much to play for as we do in this situation. So I think the Purple Force is going to be out big time.
Yeah, and with the way our secondary has stepped up of late, I just don't think the Bears are going to be able to get the ground game going. And I think our secondary is going to be able to blanket Bernard Berrien and Mushin Muhammad. He still needs Jesus.
And Kyle Orton is the quarterback. Let's not forget that that's the key to this whole thing. I mean, Rex Grossman is a disaster. He's not playing. And if the Bears weren't already out of things, they might be potentially playing greasy here, but they want to see what they have in Orton. So that tells you how painful it is to be a Bears fan right now. But, Jeff, the last thing we need to talk about as we kind of segue out of this segment, and we will welcome Yeasty to the set next, is we got to talk a little bit more about the playoff chances right now, because a couple weeks ago we were hesitant to even mention this. We didn't want to jump on the bandwagon and then be so disappointed with a humiliating loss. But right now, if the playoffs started, our squad would be sitting in 6th place. Last week, things broke perfectly for us. The teams that needed to lose, Arizona lost, the Lions lost, the heartbreaker to Dallas. So right now, we'd be in the playoffs. So now we aren't overzealous purple freaks talking about the playoffs because, man, it looks like we've got a good chance to make it to postseason play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have a legitimate chance with the way we run the ball, which is traditional football formula for success, and the way we play defense, stopping the run, also traditional formula for success. We're looking really pretty. There's no other teams at 7-6. And the only teams that really are around us we've been able to do well against. We beat the Lions. Well, now I know we split with them, but they have a tough schedule. Arizona has a tough schedule. We play the Redskins, so we can drop them down another notch. And we've got a winnable game here this Monday, a winnable game against the Redskins. The one game that I'm a little concerned about is Week 17 at Denver. Mile High is a tough place to play, and the Broncos might still be looking to get into the playoffs. But I'll tell you that I do think we can suffer that last loss if it so happens and still make the playoffs. So things are looking good, and I'll tell you, too, that we didn't really see it coming.
No, it kind of blindsided us. I mean, I sat on this very set the week after we got housed by Green Bay in what essentially I feel like was a wake-up call.
It was rock bottom for us, really.
It totally was, and the players responded to their credit. But you know, we have been very on Brad Childress's case in different certain situations. We've been critical of him, and I've got to hand it to him. At that moment in the Green Bay loss, it was completely possible that he could have went Bobby Petrino on the situation and just walked away, given up, been a quitter. But this guy has been even keel from the start until this point. He was the same after a humiliating loss as he is after 4 consecutive wins, and that business-like approach is starting to pay off for our squad. People are saying we're the most dangerous team entering the NFC playoffs. No one wants to play us.
I know, that's great. It's been a while since we've been doing this show for a while now, and I don't know, I can't remember a time when we've been this hot,
this late
in the season, other than the 7-0 start we had under Ticey. Was that 2004?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
We talked about that. We've never been this competitive this late in the season, like you're saying, and so it's exciting to be a Purple fan right now. And you're right, Jesse, people don't want to play us, and I feel bad for the Packers, who we could see in the playoffs. And how great would it be if we, having lost 2 this season to them in the regular season, to go to their house and to steal their thunder.
We would hoist the Purple Cups high there. We want to welcome you to the show. We have a lot left to talk to you about. Of course, fantasy playoff weeks are here for you. You got to go onto our website and check it out, testosteronesports.com. We're going to talk more about the site as the show continues to draw on, but it's great to have the viewers in the house with us for this show.
Yeah, it's a holiday season. We'd like to wish you and yours a very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. We're going to go to break right now. We'll be right back with Limp Wrist.
Feed the beast.
All day, baby.
What's up, fantasy football junkies? It's Jesse talking to you about my favorite fantasy football website on the web. That's testosteronesports.com. Of course, it's my favorite because it's the website that goes hand in hand with this show that we love to do. The website, also a labor of love. But you're probably saying, Jesse, what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for you is total league domination. The reason you've got to check out testosteronesports.com is we break down all of the matchups on a weekly basis. We have a bench start article that comes out every single week. Right after the show, we host a fat chat where you can come online with us, ask us your matchup related questions. We'll tell you who we think you should play and who we think you should stick on your fantasy bench. It's all about dominating your fantasy football league. And the best part is all of the content is updated daily and it's all completely free. Yes, that's right. You don't have to pay $49.95 to find out if your player practiced on Friday. I do up-to-date player profiling for all of the different players that are pertinent to your fantasy information, so you don't have to worry about going through a bunch of information that doesn't matter to you. All the players that we profile on our website, testosteronesports.com, are all fantasy relevant guys. So get on there, online, check it out, testosteronesports.com. There's games that you can play on there. It's just there's a plethora of things on there for the fantasy football junkies, and it's free, 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 free. I know everybody loves free things. My favorite thing in this life is free beer, but next to free beer, it's free fantasy football. So get online, check it out, testosteronesports.com to help you dominate your fantasy football league.